Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Taking my words as defamation, Lord Krishna has left me. I know that he is gone, but kindly hear my prayers in praise. You are the satisfaction of my eyes. You are my wealth and my life. Alas, please give me your audience once again. There were different transformations of the body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being stunned, trembling, perspiring, fading away of color, weeping, and choking of the voice. In this way, his whole body was pervaded by transcendental joy. As a result, sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would laugh, sometimes cry, sometimes dance, and sometimes sing. Sometimes he would get up and run here and there, sometimes fall on the ground and lose consciousness. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thus unconscious, he happened to meet the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, he got up and immediately made a tumultuous sound, very loudly declaring, "Now Krishna, the great personality, is present." In this way, because of Krishna's sweet qualities, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made different types of mistakes in his mind. Thus, by reciting the following verse, he ascertained the presence of Lord Krishna. In the attitude of Radharani, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addressed the gopis, "My dear friends, where is that Krishna, Cupid personified, who has the effulgence of a kadamba flower, who is sweetness itself, the nectar of my eyes and mind? He who loosens the hair of the gopis, who is the supreme source of transcendental bliss and my soul, life and soul. Has he come before my eyes again?" Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then began to talk like this. Is Cupid personified present with the effulgence and reflection of the Kadamba tree? Is he the same person, personified sweetness, who is the pleasure of my eyes and mind, who is my life and soul? Has Krishna actually come before my eyes? Text 76. As the spiritual master chastises the disciple and teaches him the art of devotional service, so all the ecstatic symptoms of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including despondency, moroseness, humility, restlessness, joy, endurance, and anger, instructed his body and mind. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his time. Text 77. He also passed his time reading the books and singing the songs of Chandi Dasa and Vidyapati and listening to quotations from the Jagannatha Vallabha Nataka, Krishna Karnamrita, and Gita Govinda. Thus, in the association of Swarupa Damodara and Raya Ramananda, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his days and nights chanting and hearing with great pleasure. Text 78. Among his associates, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed paternal loving affection from Paramananda Puri, friendly affection with Ramananda Rai, unalloyed service from Govinda and others, and humors of conjugal love with Gadadhara, Jagadananda, and Swarupa Damodara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed all these four mellows, and thus he remained obliged to his devotees. Text 79. Lila Sukha Bilvamangal Thakura was an ordinary human being, yet he developed many ecstatic symptoms in his body. What then is so astonishing about these symptoms being manifest in the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? In the ecstatic mode of conjugal love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the highest platform. Therefore, all the exuberant ecstasies were naturally visible in his body. Text 80. During his previous pastimes in Vrindavana, Lord Krishna desired to enjoy three different types of ecstasy, but despite great endeavor, he could not taste them. Such ecstasies are the monopoly of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, in order to taste them, Sri Krishna accepted the position of Srimati Radharani in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 81. By personally tasting the mellows of love of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his direct disciples the process. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a wealthy capitalist possessing the touchstone of love of God. Not considering whether one is a proper or improper recipient, he gives his treasure to anyone and everyone. Thus, he is the most munificent. Text 82. No one, not even Lord Brahma, can ascertain or even taste a drop of this confidential ocean of ecstasy, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, has distributed this love of Godhead all over the world. Thus, there cannot be any incarnation more munificent than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is no greater donor who can describe his transcendental qualities. Text 83. Such topics are not to be discussed freely because if they are, no one will understand them. Such are the wonderful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unto one who is able to understand, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown mercy by giving him the association of the servant of his own servant. Text 84. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the topmost of jewels. They have been kept in the storehouse of Swarupa Damodara Goswami, who has explained them to Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, who has repeated them to me. Whatever little I have heard from Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, I have described in this book, which is presented to all devotees. Text 85. If one says that Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of Sanskrit verses and therefore are not understandable by a common man, I reply that what I have described are the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that for me to satisfy everyone is not possible. Text 86. In this Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is no contradictory conclusion, nor is anyone else's opinion accepted. I have written this book to describe the simple substance as I have heard it from my superiors. If I become involved in someone's likes and dislikes, I cannot possibly write the simple truth. Text 87. If one does not understand in the beginning but continues to hear again and again the wonderful effects of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, will bring love for Krishna. Gradually, one will come to understand the loving affairs between Krishna and the gopis and other associates of Vrindavana. Everyone is advised to continue to hear over and over again in order to greatly benefit. Text 88. In reply to those critics who say that Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of Sanskrit verses, it can be said that Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of Sanskrit verses, as are the commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. Nonetheless, Srimad Bhagavatam can be understood by everyone, as well as by advanced devotees who study the Sanskrit commentaries. Why then will people not understand the Chaitanya Charitamrita? There are only a few Sanskrit verses, and these have been explained in the Bengali vernacular. What is the difficulty in understanding? Text 89. I have already given a synopsis of all the facts and figures of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's last pastimes, and I have a desire to describe them elaborately. If I remain longer and am fortunate enough to receive the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I shall try to describe them again more elaborately. Text 90. I have now become too old and disturbed by invalidity. While I write, my hands tremble. I cannot remember anything, nor can I see or hear properly. Still I write, and this is a great wonder. Text 91. In this chapter, I have to some extent described the essence of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya at the end. If I die in the meantime and cannot describe them in detail, at least the devotees will have this transcendental treasure. Text 92. In this chapter, I have briefly described the Antya Lila. Whatever have not described, I shall describe extensively in the future. If by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy I live for so many days that I can fulfill my desires, I will give full consideration to these pastimes. Text 93. I worship herewith the lotus feet of all kinds of devotees, both advanced and neophyte. I request all of them to be satisfied with me. I am faultless because I have written herein whatever I have understood from Swarupa Damodar Goswami and Rupa and Raghunatha Dasa Goswamis. I have neither added to nor subtracted from their version. Text 94. According to the Parampara system, I wish to take the dust from the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like Swarupa Damodara, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Raghunatha Dasa Goswami. I wish to take the dust of their lotus feet upon my head. In this way, I wish to be blessed with their mercy. Text 95. Receiving orders from the above authorities and the Vaishnavas of Vrindavana, especially from Haridasa, the priest of Govindaji, I, Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami, have tried to describe one small particle of one drop of one wave of the ocean of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So, again, we're in the Antya-lila section. We're actually in the Madhya-lila, chapter 2. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving a quick synopsis of the whole Antya-lila for us. Specifically the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the last 12 years of his manifest pastimes on this earth planet. So that's what he's giving a quick summary for us. And remember, the reason he was giving the summary is that he was not sure how long he's going to live. That we also read that in the last few verses just now, right? Mataji was reading that. So he was not sure how long he's going to live. That's why he gave a quick synopsis of the pastimes of Antya-lila in this chapter. And the next chapter onwards, he'll go into the deep pastimes of Madhya-lila first. And then following that, Antya-lila after several books actually. So that is the overall context in which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing Antya-lila pastimes in very, very brief. And within that context, we've been discussing, he has been sharing with us how Lord Chaitanya is experiencing the mood of Srimati Radharani, specifically in the mood of separation from Krishna, so much, and is experiencing the highest transcendental ecstatic symptoms that are never heard before also. Almost, except for a few examples are given in these verses we read today, like that, right? About Bilo Mangal Thakur, it's described. Like that, almost it's rare because it's the highest emotions that only Radharani can experience like that. Those Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing now. So now, through these verses, we're getting a glimpse of them now. Let's go through a few of them at least. So now, in this 71st verse is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is considering that Krishna considered his words as a defamation. So he left me like that. He's lamenting that Krishna has left me like that. Then 72 verse, these are different kinds of transformations in Lord Chaitanya's body are being described. Actually, each of these words is described in a purport in detail. So I'll go a little bit. Basically, Stamba is being stunned, it seems. That means when mind becomes transcendently absorbed in Krishna. So it's like inactivity, stunning, like we say somebody got stunned like that, right? Almost like no movement, even no speech, no movement of hands and legs like that. The emotions that come in this state are joy, fear, astonishment, moroseness, and anger. All of this simultaneously. Some of them appear positive, some of them appear negative to us. See, there's a difference in the transcendental ecstasy symptoms here. Next word is described as kampa. That is trembling of the body, it seems. It is a result of a special kind of fear, anger, and joy. These three together. So then when the body begins to perspire in that condition, when joy, fear, and anger are combined together, that's called Sveda, it seems. And then body's color also changes. That's called Vaivanya. and that is caused because of the combination of, again, 3 different ecstatic symptoms: moroseness, anger, and fear again. So then Ashru is explained as, again, as a combination of joy, anger, and moroseness, where water flows from eyes without effort, it seems. That means automatically they come out, basically, tears of water like that. And so basically there's different mixtures of symptoms. One of the symptoms described is Gadgada. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shikam also is described Gadgada Rudaya Gira, like that. So that is being described in the purport. That is result of a combination of moroseness, astonishment, anger, joy, and fear, it seems. That results in a choking of voice. That is called Gadgada. So basically, for our level, we are understanding different transcendental ecstatic symptoms are mixing together, causing different ecstatic symptoms that are visible as external symptoms for people seeing, basically. So that's what being described for us, for our benefit now. So in text 73, so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became unconscious for some time, he actually met Supreme Lord Krishna, it seems. That's why he's happy. So he's loudly declaring, now Krishna is present. Now Krishna is present, like that he's saying, it seems. So, so sometimes he's seeing Krishna, sometimes not seeing Krishna, like that, basically. So that's what is being described. In text 74, in the attitude of Srimati Radharani, is again saying, where is Krishna, like that? Where is Krishna? Where is the Cupid personified? He is so sweet. He has the effulgence of a kadamba flower. Like that, in the mood of Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is inquiring, like from the other gopis, basically. Then, is Cupid personified present with the effulgence and reflection of kadamba tree? Is he the same person? Has Krishna actually come before my eyes? Like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is reciting these verses. Actually, previous verse is considered as a verse from Krishna Karnamrita, it seems. In the later verses is described, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally used to recite verses from Krishna Karnamrita and other literature that is also described, actually. In later verses, we'll come to that. So now, in 75th verse, we hear Krishna again. He is looking for Krishna again. And 76th verse, interesting analogy is given. As a spiritual master chastises the disciple and teaches him the art of devotion service, that's the analogy. Similarly, ecstatic symptoms of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ecstatic symptoms are like the spiritual master, it seems. What are the symptoms? Despondency, moroseness, humility, restlessness, joy, endurance, and anger. And they are instructing his body and mind, like that. In this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his time. And how else he passed the time? Remember, we were talking about it? By reading songs of Chandidasa, Vidyapati, by singing those songs, and also by listening to quotations from Jagannath Vallabha Natika, it seems, and then also from Krishna Karnamrita and Gita Govinda. So these are very, very exalted literatures, basically. That Lord Chaitanya was personally relishing them in that high moods. And how? In the association of Swarup Damodara and Ramananda Raya. He used to chant and hear with great pleasure these things, it seems. That's why they both supported Lord Chaitanya during these last 12 years. So then how all the associates supported is in the next verse, actually. Next verse saying, Lord Chaitanya enjoyed 4 different rasas simultaneously, it seems. One is Vatsalya Rasa from Paramananda Puri, and then Sakya Rasa with Ramananda Raya, and then Dasya Rasa with Govinda, who is his personal servant, and others. And then the humors of conjugal love is experiencing as mood of Radharani with Krishna. He used to share with Gadadhar Pandit, Jagadananda, and Swarup Damodar, it seems. That's how he's enjoyed all these 4 mellows, it seems. That's what is being described. We know Paramananda Puri. There's no background of Paramananda Puri, what he was in a Puri. Yeah, he was Uddhava in Vrindavan, it's Paramananda Puri in Krishna Lila. And Ramananda Raya was Vishaka Devi and also Arjuna. That's why he's also in the Sakya Rasa here. And then Govinda, we know, is a personal servant. And yeah, that's all about it. Okay, then let's go next one. Yeah, there's basically associating with in 4 different rasas. That's the point in this verse. 79th verse. Lila Sukha. Bilvamangar. Here Krishna's Koraj Goswami is telling us, even a Jiva, Bilvamangatwa Kuda, he also developed many of the external symptoms in his body, it seems. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being Supreme Lord himself, what is the surprise in him exhibiting the ecstatic mood of conjugal love, in him experiences symptoms like that is describing. So that is the point here. And then 80th verse. During his previous pastimes in Vrindavana, okay, so Lord Krishna actually wanted to enjoy the 3 different types of ecstasy, it seems. What are those? There's no purport for us to describe what are those 3 different ecstasies. But he wanted to enjoy those 3 different ecstasies in Krishna Lila, but he could not taste them, it seems, because they are monopoly of Srimati Radharani, it seems. That is why Lord Krishna took the position of Srimati Radharani in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to taste the 3 different ecstasies that are monopoly of Radharani, like that. 81st verse is describing, by personally tasting these rasas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his direct disciples, the same process, it seems. So by sharing this knowledge, he did not lose anything. So he is so munificent. He didn't care who is qualified, who is not qualified. He distributed love of Godhead freely, it seems. Srila Prabhupada writes, like that, our Krishna consciousness movement, we also should distribute chanting of the holy name of the Lord to everyone we come across, like that. And then 82. So even the great personalities like Lord Brahma can taste these ecstasies Lord Chaitanya is tasting personally, it seems. So, and he was giving to everybody also. That's why there's no munificent incarnation beyond Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like that. And then these topics should not be discussed freely, because everybody cannot understand the ecstatic symptoms that Lord Chaitanya is feeling. Even for us, it's just a glimpse of understanding based on the purpose of Prabhupada. But non-devotees, they will not even understand anything. Some people even take it in a wrong way and become sahajiyas. They deviate sampradayas, they can create also, like that. In 84th verse, so these pastimes are kept in the storehouse of Swarup Damodar Goswami. So basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this explained or exhibited symptoms before Swarup Damodar Goswami, who had the realization of these pastimes, and he in turn explained them to Raghunath Das Goswami. And remember, Raghunath Das Goswami used to every day recite them, repeat them, so that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami can write the book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this Chaitanya Charitamrita is basically knowledge coming from the parampara, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Swarup Damodara to Raghunath Das Goswami to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. That's the point being given here. In the next verse also, next verse is describing that someone may say, oh my God, Chaitanya Charitamrita is all full of Sanskrit verses. So how can common man understand it? So then he's describing that actually Srimad Bhagavatam also has so many Sanskrit verses. But if I start thinking about who will understand these pastimes, who will not understand the pastimes, like that, then I cannot truly do justice, he's saying. I cannot satisfy everybody. He's saying in the next verse that I cannot think about this person opinion, that person opinion, and stop writing what I'm supposed to write. Whatever I heard from my superiors, that is Raghunath Goswami, Swarup Damodar, it's coming from Swarup Damodar, right? And Rupa Goswami, that I will describe the simple substance in my book, without considering who likes it, who doesn't like it, like that. He will write the simple truth, is straightforward, like that he is describing. Now, but then he gives us a hope. Even if we do not understand these pastimes initially, as we hear repeatedly these pastimes, then we can understand them. As we get purified through bhakti and as we repeatedly hear these pastimes, we'll greatly benefit. That is what he's telling us. And then, so if somebody says Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of Sanskrit verses, then for such critics is saying that Srimad Bhagavatam is also like that. Srimad Bhagavatam commentaries are also Sanskrit, but Srimad Bhagavatam can be understood by everyone. And advanced devotees can understand even Sanskrit commentaries also they read. But even ordinary people are unable to understand because of the help from devotees. Why then people will not understand Chaitanya Charitamrita? Because I put only few Sanskrit verses. Rest of them are Bengali. Even those few Sanskrit verses, I've been explained in Bengali vernacular. So they should not be difficult in understanding, like that is saying. Now he's saying that I give you the synopsis of all the facts and figures of Lord Chaitanya's final pastimes. So if I remain longer by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and I would like to describe more elaborately, like that is just concluding this section basically. And he's saying I've become too old and I'm disturbed by invalidity. My hands are trembling. I cannot remember anything, nor can I see or hear properly. Still I write, it's a great wonder, like that is describing. So basically, he's saying if he lives further, he would like to describe more. That is, but fortunately for us, he lived longer. That's why we have the Madhya Lila and Antya Lila in full. So we can go into the past tense from next chapter onwards. So next chapter, this verse is saying that I completed the Antya Lila. I have desired to describe more past tense. And then he's saying, oh, this is very sign of humility. He's saying, I worship the lotus feet of all kinds of devotees, both the advanced devotees and even the neophyte devotees also. So that is what his humility is, like that. So I'll give this purport to read, so we can read that purport also. When I send the message, I'll send you. And then he's saying that according to the parampara system, I wish to take the dust from the lotus feet of all the associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, including Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like that, including six Goswamis and Raghunathas Goswami included, like that. I want to take that dust on my head, like that is describing. In this way, I wish to be blessed with their mercy. Now he's saying, because I got the orders from the authorities and Vaishnavas of Vrindavana, especially from Haridasa, who is the priest of Radha Govinda temple, it seems at that time. I try to describe one small particle of a drop of ocean of past tense of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is concluding this chapter like that. The next chapter onwards will go into the detailed past tense of Madhya Lila. That will be nice for us. This little bit went over our head, but slowly we'll go into the detailed past tense now. Okay, we'll continue from here tomorrow. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kupasindubhya evacha paditanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.